Because we know those controversies, we can make up our own mind depending on our special circumstances. So we are all able to do that. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do have some questions, and the first question is, someone is praying a sunnah. It is when in the workplace, when we are praying sunnah in a prayer room, and that happens, I think, quite common. When somebody is praying sunnah of 4 rakat and someone joins them, thinking they are praying the first salah. So, what should be done at that time?
Okay, inshallah. Question is, if somebody is praying sunnah prayer, say it could be in a workplace, musalla, or some prayer room, and somebody else joins, thinking that they're praying fard, and just joins them to pray fard. The simple answer to that is both continue as they are. The one praying sunnah is praying sunnah, but he can't now stop his prayer and say, oh, no, I'm not praying fard, by the way. And the one praying fard is not going to knock on his shoulder and whisper, are you praying fard? It's perfectly acceptable for the imam and the ma'moon, the one praying, leading, and the one praying behind, to have different intentions. It's perfectly acceptable. So this is also true when, say, you're praying Dhuhr, the imam is praying Dhuhr, and somebody's travelling and they want to pray Asr, they can pray behind with the different intentions. It's perfectly acceptable. So the one praying sunnah should just carry on and finish their sunnah and slightly raise their voice. The one praying behind can just carry on praying as well. And both of their prayers are valid. The one praying behind, his fard is valid. The one praying in front, his sunnah is valid. Obviously the one praying in front now will step forward and pray his fard as well.
So, although you didn't start with saying your takbeers loud, you can start doing
Yeah. You should just try and help the person and just say your takbeer a bit louder. Okay, very good question. Let's say you hold an opinion about salah, that the prayer hat must be worn at all times, or your garment should be above the ankles, otherwise your salah is not valid. There are a number of other issues as well. You might be a person who believes you're not allowed to wipe over the normal socks. And then the one praying in front, leading you, has done one of those things. Absolutely, you're allowed to hold your view, and you're allowed to respect that person that he has a different view. His salah is valid, your salah is valid. And this happened many times with the great scholars and imams, that they would hold a personal view, but when somebody who has a different view is leading the salah, then you're perfectly allowed to respect the fact that they got a different view. That is very, very important principle in Islam. I forget the Arabic name for it. You are not allowed to hold others to account to your view. They are held to account to their view, not to your view. You can't impose what you believe on somebody else because they might believe something different. That's a very, very important principle in Islam. So now let's say there's a famous mas'ala, a famous issue, you wouldn't kind of be aware of it, camel meat. If you eat camel meat, many scholars in the Hanbali madhab believe it breaks your wudu. You have to make wudu again. So now let's say I believe that. If I eat camel meat, my wudu is broken. Am I allowed to eat camel meat and then without making wudu go and pray? Is that allowed for me? No, because I don't believe that. Am I allowed to pray behind somebody who's eaten camel meat and is now leading the salah if they believe that it doesn't break the wudu? Yes, because they believe it doesn't break the wudu. So I'm allowed to respect the fact that they don't think it breaks the wudu. But what I'm not allowed to do is go against what I believe. I have to make wudu and then pray. So you should just respect the person in front, as long as that person hasn't reached a kufr or shirk with something, like praying to other than Allah or something like this, then they are perfectly allowed to lead the salah and you cannot impose your view on them. Question. A non-Muslim has read the Quran in translation and would like to read the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Any hadith book with a good translation, by the way, a good translation. There's some very poor translations, particularly from Lebanon and, to be honest, Pakistan, India, some terrible translations. A good modern translation done by an author who is a native English speaker as well as has learned Arabic is very, very important. So there's a few very good translations of Riyadh al-Salihin. Also, Imam al-Nawawi's 40 hadith are very good and short, but they can seem a bit abstract to a person who doesn't have a background knowledge in Islam. And also a good seerah book I would really recommend. Martin Ling's seerah of the Prophet ﷺ is very readable for an English reader. Sometimes the hadith themselves are not enough, you need a bit of context. So Martin Ling's seerah of the Prophet ﷺ is a nice sized book as well to read. Riyadh al-Salihin is excellent, there's 2 volumes, it's quite thick work. So you'd have to judge how serious the person is and how much patience they have to read. Jazakallah khair. Yes.
That's what I want to ask you. Is there any hadith Bukhari translation in the market available? So hadith Bukhari.
Sahih al-Bukhari. Yes, Sahih al-Bukhari. The reason Sahih al-Bukhari is hadith organized for fiqh purposes. Yeah, so for a non-Muslim it wouldn't make sense the order. So Sahih al-Bukhari you have many good translations, very good translations, many. But I wouldn't recommend it for a non-Muslim who wants to find the basics of Islam, because Sahih al-Bukhari has been organized really more for fiqh scholars to derive rulings. And they might find some of the chapters a bit irrelevant. Allah, yes.
What is the latest, I think this is quite a relevant question, what is the latest that one can pray Asr before the Maghrib prayer?
Okay, good, very good question. What is the latest that a person can pray Asr and before the Maghrib prayer? In the Hanafi madhab, they have like a 20-minute no-go zone before Maghrib. Okay, like you can't pray Asr here. That is a strict warning to people, because the hypocrites in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, this is when they used to pray Asr. They used to pray Asr just as the sun is about to set. Okay, but that is that context of hypocrites. Inshallah, we're not hypocrites. So if you are in a situation where literally you have a 15-minute break just before Maghrib, and that's the only time you can pray, inshallah your salah will be valid if you pray it right up until the adhan of Maghrib. If you're in a situation where that's the only time you can pray. If you go all day and you're just relaxing, sitting on your backside doing nothing, and then you've got 5 minutes left till Maghrib and you get up and you pray, that is not permissible for you. Okay, that is not permissible for you. But if you're in a situation, the only break you will have is like 10 minutes before Maghrib, then it's still allowed for you to pray Asr there and your salah will be valid. But just be very, very careful not to delay it any beyond that.
Just another practical question. If you are not sure whether you have done 3 or 4 rak'ah, then in that case, doing sajda saw will be accepted prayer or not?
Okay, if you're not sure if you prayed 3 or 4, remember the principle, it always goes back to the principle. Doubt does not overcome certainty. Are you sure you've prayed 3? Yeah. Because you're not sure if you prayed 3 or 4. Are you sure you've prayed 3? Then you go on the assumption you've prayed 3. Yeah? So when you're not sure whether you've done 3 or 4, go with the assumption you've done 3 because you're sure about that. You're not sure about the 4th, and doubt does not overcome certainty. So you stick with the 3 and then you do sujood as-sahw at the end. So the last thing I wanted to say, sorry to increase the time, but you see in many issues of Islamic fiqh you find a lot of difference of opinion. They're looking at evidences from different angles. Yeah, that's all. And try, especially when you're learning Islam, to kind of have one main person you go to. And that wouldn't be me, it would be one of your local students of knowledge or scholars. Don't try and sort of take an issue down around to 4 or 5 different people, get different views. You can feel quite disappointed and confused quite quickly. So everyday matters, Islamic fiqh, scholars look at evidences from different angles, they assess situations in different ways. The questioner gives different amounts of information as well to different scholars. So don't get in the habit of asking too many people different issues. Focus on one person you trust, you rely on, you respect, has good knowledge, and then focus your Islamic law questions to that one person till you get on a level where you have enough ability to evaluate different views, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much for your comprehensive explanation of the procedure of Tahara, Wudu and Salah. I'm sorry for those people who didn't have their questions answered, but inshallah we will answer those questions next time. And now it is Zuhr Azan time, so can I ask Mr. Krai to come and say